me to Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? Really like that. You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, on a beautiful Wednesday here on the Film Guy Network. And I'm going to be honest with you. Few things about one Brock Bowers make a lot of sense to me, all right? If I'm just going to be honest with you and quantify it, say, hey, let's try to find some sense in this equation. Can't find a lot of it. He's from Napa, California. Did you know that there's only 2 NFL players in the history of the NFL from Napa, California? The last one was some offensive tackle in the mid-'90s named Mike Gibson. Don't know, never heard of him. Nonetheless, there's only been 2 of them. There's set to be 3 very, very soon. He's going to go down as the greatest of all time in a lot of opinions at the tight end position, and he was ranked outside of the top 300 for majority of his recruitment process. In fact, he was the number 2 overall tight end shortly after committing to the University of Georgia. Funny how those bumps always happen, but we've always talked about that. That's to be expected in terms of the ratings bump. But he is going to go down as the greatest tight end of all time, particularly at the University of Georgia, and he's going to do so as not exactly the most gifted, all right, in the history of Georgia football at the position. And I know that's going to sound rather crazy. A lot of people are going to think, but Brooks, he's like way faster than anybody else that's played the position. And I would say, yeah, that's probably his one-of-one trait, right? In terms of physical gifts, he's way faster than everybody else. But I would also probably argue that most of that speed is probably a byproduct of his work ethic. He runs faster than everybody else because he runs harder than everybody else, right? That is his nature. That is what his attribute is, right? He is not the biggest. He is not the freakiest, but yet he is the best, right? He's the best of all time. And how? How did we get to that? If he's not the biggest, if it's not the freakiest, but he is somehow the best, how did he get there? What is his alien trait? Right? What is his alien trait? What does he do so much better than everybody else that he is this person, that he is this football player? His alien trait is his work ethic, folks. It always has been. If you listen to the stories about this individual during his time at the University of Georgia, they revolve around his work ethic. He is the fastest. He is the best because he runs harder, he runs longer, he works harder. His work ethic is that of a psycho, right? This dude is a psycho. So when he went down against Vanderbilt and it was reported that he was going to ultimately have tightrope surgery, there was no doubt in my mind that he would inevitably be back in a Georgia uniform at some point. I was confident of that, right? We had very, very staunch opinions about people thinking that he might wrap it up and call it a career at the University of Georgia. We knew for a fact he would be back. I was confident that he was going to be back. I was confident that he was going to do so and try to defy all of the odds in terms of the timetable in his return. And I was positive that he was going to attack rehab and attack this process of getting back onto the field just as hard as he did any other process throughout his career. We reported last week over on patreon.com/Brooks Austin that he was back running on the sideline at speeds that were staggering. Speeds when I was told last week and the end of last week, when I got the word on it, dude, I didn't even want to report it. I didn't. I thought it was fugazi. I didn't believe it. I didn't think that it was possible that this dude would be back running in a straight line somewhere around 19, 20 miles per hour. But I did report on patreon.com/Brooks Austin that he was back running, and he was back running pretty daggum fast. Marcus Rosemi Jack Saint confirmed those reports, as we told you yesterday, saying in his media availability that indeed it was true. Brock Bowers was running last week as fast as 20 miles per hour. Kirby Smart talked to the media today again in this SEC teleconference, and he kind of gave another update. We've been given these acceleration numbers. We've been given these speed numbers, but of course, it's always a little bit more difficult than just raw data points, all right? These are very complex situations. They are moving situations. And it's not just that data point that they're taking into consideration at the University of Georgia. It's not just acceleration. It's deceleration. How fast can you stop yourself once you get going? Those are the numbers that they're also taking a look at right now. But here's what I know. Here's what I know to be fact, right? I know for a fact that Brock Bowers loves football and loves playing football, particularly for the University of Georgia. I've already talked about it. I know he's a psycho when it comes to work ethic, but I also know through some back channel reporting and some things that we've always been hearing about rumblings with regards to this guy might be playing through something. All right, this guy might be banged up. This guy might be this guy might be that. I'm here to tell you, Brock Bowers has played through a tremendous amount of pain already at this point in his career. There have been other times in football games where most people probably would have been on the sideline, yet 19's out there playing. So I know for a fact his pain tolerance is rather ridiculous and rather out of this world, okay? He deals with pain a little bit different than everybody else. And I also know for a fact that this dude's doing everything possible to get back onto the field as fast as possible. All right, so here's what you're here for tonight. You're here looking at the title of the show, and you want to hear some type of intel, and I'll give you a little bit right here, all right? This has already been on patreon.com/Brooks Austin for a couple of days now. I have it on pretty good authority that he might have dressed last week. Like, there might have been some dressing just to dress last week, all right? And they pulled the curtain on that one. I have unequivocal doubt, like no doubt at all, that number 19 is going to run out of the tunnel on Saturday in full pads. The question to me at this point is whether or not he's actually going to play snaps. But I have it on like pretty good feeling that there's very little that football staff and that room and that community around Brock Bowers right now is going to be able to do anything to keep him from not dressing on Saturday, because it is rare, gentlemen, and by the way, welcome in, it is rare that we have a football player that is this talented with this much money on the line, right? Presumed money on the line. And you have to like hold the reins on the kid and say, hey, buddy, no, like slow down. We don't necessarily absolutely 1,000% need you this week. Will you chill out? And again, if you listen to Todd Hartley's pressers and media availabilities this year, all he talked about was how he has to tell Brock, sit your ass on the sideline, don't move. I guess to talk to him like that. Like, do not move. You are not going in on this rep. That's who this football player was this season. That's who this football player has been his entire year or his entire career. That's who this football player remains. I expect to see him full padded on Saturday inside Sanford Stadium for the last time.
Man, when he comes out of that tunnel, it might provide one of the most memorable moments in like Georgia football history. Just knowing like what Brock Bowers has done for this program and knowing who he is. I mean, he has become one of the most beloved players in program history. And to see him come out of the tunnel on Saturday in a jersey, I think it's going to be electric, regardless of if he plays or not.
Yeah, just to see him in full pads one last time in Sanford is going to be really important to the fans and to him, I think. So I'm looking forward to it.
And again, it's not confirmed. It's not anything I've been told. I just got a real good suspicion based off everything that I've heard. And I've got some different timelines on this stuff that I want to talk about just in a second. But I want to welcome you guys in to a tremendous show on tonight's platform. Okay, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, and rate, review, and turning your TVs up over there on the Roku app and setting the props. All right, we're going to be setting the props today. I knew you guys were over there. We're going to set the props today on this football game Saturday. There is a chance of rain on Saturday. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We love to play What's the Limit here on Wednesday. What is the limit of whatever? All right, we're going to set some lines on what Georgia can handle and what Georgia can get away with on Saturday and still come away with a win in this football game. What a potential return of number 19 could ultimately mean. We'll continue to talk a little bit about that. We will give them 3 today as well. 3 things that scare you about this Ole Miss roster and this Ole Miss matchup. I would like to hear your thoughts in the chat today as well on that one. So if you guys want to go ahead and give them 3, go ahead and rattle off 3 things that might scare you about this Ole Miss matchup. And, of course, we will talk about why Kirby Smart seems to hate fun things. All right, we love to have fun things. Let us have some fun things. I don't understand why you hate them. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks, okay? There is a bunch of good stuff. We're going to lay out the slate here in a little while available over there on the Prize Picks. But first, you got to have a membership over there. You got to sign up. You got to run over there and use promo code Brooks today and get a 100% deposit match on prizepicks.com, right? What does that mean? You put up to $100, you get $100 back immediately right over there on Prize Picks. Again, only using promo code Brooks. Make sure you run over there and support those who support us, just like our friends at The Athletic Collection. All right, all these dope posters you see hanging around this the studio and our dweebs and producers over there, okay, you can find over on the Athletic Collection. That is an NIL play, ladies and gentlemen. So a portion of the revenues for those those poster sales will go directly into the pockets of those players. I saw Branson Robinson, Kendall Milton. There's some Carson Beck, memorabilia or poster work over there as well. I think they have a new Brock Bowers poster up on the Athletic Collection as well. So it's not just the two that you see in the studio. There is a multitude of options over there on the Athletic Collection. So shouts out to those guys. Boys, first off, before we get into anything further, what are your thoughts on Brock potentially returning? I know I kind of got your brief thoughts, but just the idea that he might be able to dress up and get back out there this weekend.
It all but confirms what we thought about him as a person. The fact that he went almost 3 full seasons as a player and knowing the workload that he's taken on in games and whatnot, and he never sat on the sideline. Like we obviously heard about little rumblings of like, oh, he's dealing with this right now, but he always showed up. He was always out there. And so for him to push back now and keep – because, like, it'd be very easy to say – just get healthy for Atlanta. That's all we really want you to. It'd be easy for him to say that as well. Like, I just want to play in the SEC championship game, kind of like what George Pickens did of like, that's kind of what I'm shooting for. But for Brock, it's get me in there now.
And look, I want to make it very, very clear. The difference between dressing and playing are two totally different discussions, right? But it would still be very, very monumental for him to run out of that tunnel on Saturday. I still think the timetable for actual playing time, like real substantial Brock being Brock again, let's get him the rock, see what he can do after the catch. That type of stuff, I think you start mixing in against Georgia Tech. Maybe you're forced to mix it in against Tennessee depending on how this weekend's results go.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to necessarily put him in a situation where he's going to take live game reps just yet. Unless, like you said, you absolutely need to. But I don't think you're going to be in a situation like that against Ole Miss.
I think, too, it speaks to just how important the University of Georgia is to him because it is going to be his last time playing in Sanford Stadium. It's his last time to take on the field in a Georgia uniform in that red uniform this weekend. So I think that just kind of tells you how important it is to him and how much he cares and loves about this place.
All right, so Kirby has repetitively talked about others and their timetable and, hey, we're trying to match it up and he's on pace, yada, yada, yada. All you can really do with regards to Kirby Smart and injury reports is lean on insiders and read the tea leaves. So we've already given you an insider report. Let's read the tea leaves. Every single time he's talked about this, he talks about the history they have with this tightrope surgery and other people's timelines. So I did a little research today and ran down the timeline. Lawson Lucky had his surgery August 16th. He dressed, if I remember correctly, for the first time against UAB. Did not play, until the week before. He did not play until Kentucky, I believe it was, in blowout time, all right, at the end of that football game. So that was 5 weeks until dress, 7 weeks until meaningful playing time for Lawson Lucky. Amarius Mims had his surgery September 17th. Okay, September 17th, that is the Sunday after South Carolina's matchup, right? He dressed for the first time 10/28. That was 5 weeks. We are now 7 weeks removed from the surgery. We believe he's probably going to get his first playing time this weekend, you would imagine, if need be. I mean, Truss has played relatively well, but if they need him to go this weekend, it's break glass. You got to play Amarius Mims. He's presumed to be having been healthy enough and ready to play for, I would imagine, the last 10 days or so. Okay, I don't think he was absolutely ready to play against Florida. Definitely could have started and played all 4 quarters is what it sounded like last week. Now, that brings us to Bowers. Okay, Brock's surgery was 10/16. Okay, it was October 16th, okay, or 17th. I think 17th, the morning of the 17th. Nonetheless, if he dressed this weekend, it would be just under 31 days. It would be just under 4 weeks for this guy to get back onto the field into a uniform. All right, playing next week would be 5. He would be reset, but he would be doing exactly what we thought he would be doing. He would be resetting timetables for this return. And I thought it was interesting to hear Kirby answer the question about pain tolerance this week because he's obviously never had this injury, but other people have. And he said some guys complain about how much it hurts. Some guys seem to not. And that tells me pain tolerance is a factor in this situation. It is a factor in this discussion. And we've already talked about it. This dude, like a lot of alien traits in his DNA, pain tolerance seems to be one of those things where it doesn't really seem to affect this guy as much as others. I mean, shit, he got leg whipped against, what was it, Kentucky?
Mm-hmm.
He got leg whipped against Kentucky, looked like his daggum shin broke in half, and then 30 seconds later came out of the tent with nothing but pre-wrap on his leg and was like, all right, I'm finna go get these boys another 75 receiving yards in the second half. So his pain tolerance is obviously a little bit different, but just thoughts on that timetable, guys. And again, the 5 weeks to dress looks to be what it is normal, under normal circumstances, what it looks to be. Is that timetable rushed because this is senior day? I think it is. I think it does mean a little bit more to have Brock Bowers in a uniform and in a helmet and shoulder pads on Saturdays.
I mean, when the surgery initially happened, everybody's like, oh, well, Tua came back, I think it was in
26 days.
Yeah, it was
27
That's
days.
what I was looking up right there. It's
And
like
Rusty
20
tweeted it out today,
yeah,
right?
it's
Shout
like
out to
20
Rusty
And
himself.
Brock would
hey,
be –
first of all, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Hey, when someone gives a dynamite statistic, give their ass credit. All right, I had to basically not block somebody, but I had to block and unblock somebody today to force an unfollow because you'd be stealing. All right, we spent a lot of time digging down that 20 points per game home and away split yesterday. Don't just be out here giving it to folks, acting like it's yours. When somebody gives a stat and runs a stat down, yes, the stat is available for everybody. They are stats. All you have to do is go find them. But we did the finding, all right? And Rusty did the finding on this stat. So when someone does it, give them credit. No one has come back faster on a national stage than Tua, like Rusty was talking about today. He played. Tua played in 26 days or 27 days. I don't expect Brock to play on Saturday.
I think that goes to show kind of the severity of these.
Sorry for the rant, by the way.
No,
Oh,
it's
you're
all
good.
good. It does kind of go to show the severity of the ankle sprain kind of varies in the time tip. I mean, obviously, like Marius Mims being out 7 weeks, I don't think I would argue that Tua Tagovailoa is that much tougher than Marius Mims or is that much crazier of a work ethic or recovery time. I think it's just varying injuries and varying severity of it.
Yeah, and everything. There's a lot of differentiation factors here, right? Like how much does how long does it take for the swelling to come down? How quickly did you get back onto weight bearing? This is something that has changed with ankle injuries over time. Used to, they'd slap you in a boot and they just, hey, don't walk on it too much. Probably give you some crutches for the first week or two. And then after 2 weeks, they're like, all right, you can get onto a walking boot. We take you out of the air cast, put you in a walking boot. And then after 4 weeks, all right, we're really working on rehab, maybe do some single leg stabilization. Nah, dog.
A lot of rice.
These dudes are immediately trying to get back on weight-bearing legs as fast as possible because it apparently helps the rehab process on all the other surrounding ligaments on the ones that are as opposed to the ones that are just inflamed.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense.
fun fact. It makes sense now in theory. 10 years ago, we were not doing this.
No.
This is what I'm saying. Like the advancements in modern technology and science, I mean, it is absurd. There's no reason to believe I can't live to be 250.
250?
250. I mean, I heard the other day they cloned a goat. We've done this multiple times. Y'all got to catch up on the Ricky Bobby. But what from a emotional standpoint, guys? What kind of boost do you think you could get out of this?
I think I wouldn't put it on the same level as like Nolan Smith being out on the field, just because like Nolan Smith, that is a special quality and special trait that I think he has as a leader and what he provided for Georgia during that time, just of him being on the sidelines, the energy that he provides. I think he is different in that aspect. But I think it does matter for him to be out there and just show face, have a personality out there. Like they showed a clip, I think it was in the highlight reel that Georgia posts every week of like when Delp got that touchdown, Brock Bowers was the first one out there to congratulate him. Just him having a presence. He obviously, like when he's one of those guys, when he's there, you feel his presence and people know it.
Yeah, I think it's going to have the most effect on the fans. To see Brock Bowers in pads is going to get the crowd riled up a lot, I think. Even if he steps on the field, that's going to be even bigger.
I think the crowd needs a lot more juice than these football players do, which brings me to my next point. Why does Kirby Smart hate fun things? What is up with my mans? Like this is like 3 years running. 3 years running, my mans just does not like anything other than the main thing. We got to keep the main thing the main thing. All right, I understand that. The players don't need extra juice in the form of uniforms. We get that. You are not Oregon. All right, we understand that the main thing, the standard to the standard, all this stuff. All right, your players don't need it. But I was in that stadium Saturday against Missouri. I was. And I've been in that stadium when it actually means something and when it's loud, all right, and when it needs to be loud. Saturday is a needs to be loud moment for this football stadium and for this fan base. Your football team does not need extra juice of black jerseys coming out of that tunnel. But maybe your fan base does. Maybe your fan base does. And if that gets you into a raucous situation for the first 2 quarters of this football game, by God, that might win this football game. All right, so boys, I know black jerseys always a topic. Everybody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to see them. A, why don't we see them? B, be kind of cool, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it'd be so freaking cool. I also think, though, like, if you are going to do it, I would like it to be done the right way where the whole stadium is blacked out. Like how it looked when they did it in 2007 against Auburn. Like, everybody should be blacked out. That whole stadium should look that way. So I think if you want to do it,
everyone's just just blacked out.
I think that
Just
would
blacked.
be. I think that would be really cool. But I also get the aspect of like the element of surprise because that's what they did when they originally did it. Of like, oh, they went out on the field and they came back and they were in the locker room. The fans weren't expecting it. But I don't know why they don't do it. You know, there for a while it was like, oh, they're cursed. We lost in them, blah, blah, blah. But now you've gotten a couple dubs in them.
Dude, Neyland Stadium and them Tennessee fans are smart enough to even checkerboard their own stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You want some juice? It may be Foose, but I'll take Foose. I'll take Foose in this football game if I'm Kirby Smart. Because you need – look, this football team in the last 2 seasons, this Ole Miss football team has played – at LSU, the real Death Valley. Get the hell out of here, Clemson. They played at Texas A&M, at Alabama, and at Auburn. They ain't going to be scared. They're not going to be scared for the environment that I saw Saturday. Like the Mizzou game was very, very much so we're taking our dog for a Sunday stroll. All right, it was not we are absolutely going to come in here and scream our head off. And it's got to be we're coming in here to scream our head off this weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, look at what happened last year against Tennessee. The whole reason Tennessee argued for until they lost to South Carolina was, oh, it's on a neutral field, meaning that the crowd had that much of an effect on the game. So to say that it's not that big of a deal, it is. It's
well, clearly everybody, the program knows it's a big deal. They created a whole mini hype video today talking about the question that you asked at the press conference of like how much can this crowd impact the football game, and they cut up a whole.
I was on the teams.
Your question wasn't in it, but it was Kirby answering your question. So like you kind of initiated it a little bit. But yeah, they created a whole miniature little hype video about how much the crowd means on Saturday for this football game. So clearly the team and the program and the social media department know it. It just means that the fans need to know it as well.
Surprised Kirby didn't correct me on that.
On what? Yeah. I mean, no, I agree. I don't have anything else to add on that.
The weather could play a factor this weekend.
Yeah.
You said there's supposed to be some rain?
I think it's supposed to be earlier in the day. I think from what I read, it's supposed to be out of there by kickoff time.
Okay. So no nighttime rains? No nothing
I
like that?
don't think so.
All right. But, it's Georgia weather in the fall.
Yeah.
It's
So anything could
It was
happen.
80 degrees today, bro. It was bullshit.
Bro, nuts.
Bullshit.
Nuts. It's got to stop. Actually, I enjoyed it. I took a run today.
It's just
Shirtless. Shirtless run in the middle of November.
Ugh.
Come on. Just flopping. Just flopping out there in the streets here in the neighborhood, dog. Just letting them hang. But no, the weather shouldn't. I mean, if it were to rain, I don't know who that favors. It always favors Georgia, but Georgia's a pass offense now.
So this is what I said. I think the easy take is, it benefits Ole Miss because they like to kind of create everything on their offense off of the run game, and Jackson Dart adds an aspect in the run game, and Quinshon Judkins is really good and whatnot. But I think that's the easy take. But Georgia, there's a reason why Kirby Smart implements wet ball practice periods throughout the entire year, like dating all the way back to the summertime. And it's because of moments like this of it could happen in one of the biggest games of the entire year, and we want our team to be prepared for it. And I think that's one of the reasons why they were successful last season against Tennessee when they needed to. They were able to kind of squat on the ball, pick up first downs when they needed to, and kind of take over the second half and just kill the clock. So I think it could benefit Georgia because they prepared themselves so much for it.
I think it also depends on when the rain comes. If it comes pregame, like we all said, I think it doesn't have as much of an effect. Yeah, the ground's going to be wet, but you can dry the ball off and things such as that. If it comes during the game, I think it benefits Georgia more, honestly, because you're going to get the crowd more into it because nothing riles you up like watching football in the rain.
Just getting wet. I think one thing, and the Discord channel is going to love this, I don't necessarily fear about the impact to Georgia's passing game from a being able to throw the ball standpoint because Carson Beck's hands are huge. They are massive. And the Nike Vapor Elite ball, Now we're getting super nerdy. The Nike Vapor Elite ball feels as close to possible as that NFL ball. Give me that Wilson right quick. Now give me that NFL ball. See, these NFL balls versus these Wilson balls. These Wilson balls are real round. The edges on them are very, very sharp. Zoom me in here just a tad. Okay, these NFL balls are, they're not as sharp on the corners. Y'all see this? How the difference between this nose of this football versus this nose of this football. This Nike ball, this NFL ball is going to cut through the air very, very, much, much better. Also, you notice the white stripe, not as prevalent. It doesn't have it on there. The Nike Vapor Elite ball, the stitching on it, very, very similar to the NFL ball, even though it has the white stripe on it to avoid any type of this issue during the rain. I'm not throwing that over there. I'm pretty accurate. I'm not that accurate. There's 4 laying around. Just grab one. Man, God, he's just hoarding my footballs over there, dude.
Hey, man, I'll share one if you want it.
Hey, I ain't worried about it. But anyways, the Nike Vapor Elite ball, gonna cut through the air relatively well. Both teams throw it, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So super nerdy conversation there for you. But hey, what else do you subscribe to this network for?
Hey, talk nerdy to me a little bit every now and then.
Yeah, got to. Hey, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, rate, review, and all that good stuff. It looks like we got a loaded chat and a loaded show tonight. If you are new to this platform, man, we talk live college football 8 to 10. All right, 8 to 9, Monday through Thursday is all dogs. TTD, talking that dog. All right, and then 9 to 10, we flip it over. We start talking to national college football. I want y'all to carry over today. I want to challenge the audience today, all almost 400 of you watching today. Make sure you're following us over for our National Hour of Discussion because we got a loaded show over there as well. Should we set the props, gentlemen?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. I've got a couple before because the lines are available on Prize Picks. Yeah. We've already got an article out on Dogs Daily today, so you can get in on the action over at Prize Picks today. Make sure you're using promo code Brooks. But I want to set a couple of these. Our guy Lane, pretty notoriously known for the fist pump on the sideline with a yeah. So I want to know, what is the total over-under on fist pumps we see from Lane Kiffin on Saturday?
That's a tough ask because that's going to imply what is
they're scoring.
Yeah, what's the over-under?
Explosive
how many
plays.
big plays or big moments I have. So I'll go 2. I'll set the line at 2.
I think we'll get one for the first score. That's it.
I think we'll at least see 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
I mean, this is Lane Kiffin in a big-time football game. We're going to see super emotional Lane because he don't learn lessons.
Yeah, but I also think that Lane has some sort of respect and wants to do right by her. Not in a do right sense, but kind of you can tell he likes Kirby a lot more than some of the other coaches he goes up against. So I think he might curtail it back just a little bit.
I think that's a good point of I think he knows that he kind of annoys Nick Saban in some ways of so he enjoys kind of poking him a little bit, doing those types of things. Kirby doesn't let anybody know that they bother him, to be honest. Or he will, but in a different way. So I don't think he would let Lane Kiffin's antics get to him or anything like that. But yeah, I think it'd be first score of the football game. That's it. I don't see 3 or 4 happening, in my opinion.
Put it at 2.
Put it at 2, and I'll take the over. I want to give a quick shout-out to Kenneth Crosby in the chat. He had a great comment here about watching an episode from the Players Lounge, and they were asked, the players were, about the black jerseys. And apparently Kenneth said the players said they don't like the black unis because they don't fit well, and the team felt uncomfortable.
Interesting.
So, yeah, something to note there. If the players don't like them, they don't like them. We can move on from the topic. I don't ever want to move on from the topic, though, because I've read the analytics on articles that we write about jerseys, and you folks love jersey talk. My God, do y'all love jersey talk. So I don't want to hear nothing from the chat today about why we talking about jerseys, because y'all love talking about jerseys. Mm-hmm. Seriously, some of our highest read articles. And it's weird. It's the interesting thing about the writing business that we're all a part of as well. I've had these conversations with colleagues. I'm not going to name the company, but one company's world record article, the most read article in the history of their website. Take one random stab at what you think it might be.
Probably black jerseys in 2020 against Mississippi State.
No.
What uniforms they were wearing in their first college football playoff game?
No, Jake Fromm wedding photos.
I would have never guessed.
Yeah, that was not even in the top 20.
You would have never gotten there. You would have never gotten there. It did almost like 8 million page views, I think, or something like that. Just absolutely bonkers.
The sorority girls love Jake Fromm, bro.
Yeah, man. It's one thing that's really, really tough. Not to sidebar here. I know everybody's here to talk football. It's one thing that's really, really tough about our industry. It's not only hyper competitive. The things that work, I don't understand why they work. It's why I harp on you guys so much about continuing to take shots, because we don't know which ones are going to go in. Hell, we had a video the other day that did 30,000 views, and it was 5 minutes of me talking about the Kamari Lassiter move. Guys, we give high-level analysis like that for 2 hours a night. Like, we talk serious football outside of, poop stories on this channel every single night. And that one did nuts, and did nuts numbers. I don't know what it is other than consistency. So I promise you right now, we're going to keep hammering the shots. Amount of NFL dogs on the sideline Saturday. Hey, here's the keynote. Philly's off this week.
Yeah,
Philly's off this week.
Oh.
I know of a tailgate, and I'm not going to tell you which one it is. I know of a tailgate that I've been told couple of these Philly dogs are going to be at the tailgate. So, yeah. You might want to find me on Saturday, boys. That's all I'm going to say.
What if I could?
You got work Saturday morning?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
I'll be finding you.
Come hang. I might put you on a camera, but come hang for sure.
That's fine.
We're going to have a good time on Saturday. And if you're in Athens, make sure you're hitting your boy up. Yes, we'll do whatever you want. We'll take photos. Not that we're like, whatever. That sounded really, really douchey, as if I needed any more of those comments. But anyways, let's continue to set the props. How many dogs on the sideline? NFL dogs.
So with just Philly alone, let's assume that they all come. That's what? 6?
So you got Nolan, you got Nakobe,
Jordan,
you got Jordan,
Jalen,
and
Keely.
Keely.
And Swift.
And Swift. Keely and Swift. All right. So that's 6.
I'm going to put it at 11 right now. I'll go
put it at 11?
I'll go ahead and say 11.
11.
I like that. Because there's going to be some some classic 2012 Aaron Murray teammates that are like, hey, can I get a sideline credit?
Plus, Mark Richt's going to be there.
Plus
so
Mark
I bet
Richt's
some
gonna be
old
there.
players are going to want to be there for that.
Actually, no, I'll go to 13 after that. I forgot about Mark Richt.
So let's set it at 12.
I'll say over that.
I would go over 12
All right, I'll count it. And you're going to be on sideline Saturday too, right?
for a little bit, yeah.
For a little bit. Let's see if we can get a head count on this.
Better yet, who's going to be the guest picker?
On College Game Day?
Yeah.
I saw Twitter doing their thing about Pollock. I bet Pollock would tell them to kiss his Christian ass on that one.
Christian.
I like the idea of Jordan Davis. I like that idea.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Jordan Davis would light that stage up.
Mm-hmm.
He would also swallow that stage.
Yes.
He would make Pat McAfee look rather small. And Pat's not a small individual.
No.
Pat's about 6'1". I put in credentials to College Game Day this morning. So you might see your boy on television. I don't know how, but I might sneak my way into it. Also, by the way, wouldn't hate a Film Guy Network sign on College Game Day. I think that would be kind of cool. And they're not gonna know who it is. They're gonna be like,
yeah,
whatever. Y'all can go ahead. But it sounds like there's been an anti-Pate State type of deal. You kind of got to sneak those in. You ain't gonna have to sneak no Film Guy merch up in there. So wouldn't hate you if you did it. I don't know what I'd send you, but I'd do something for you. Maybe give you a personalized breakdown of your son's highlight tape. Something like that.
That's actually, I love that.
I do too. I get asked all the time. I've always done them basically. I mean, not for free. I've never charged anybody anything in this industry, but I always do them out of the goodness of my own heart, even when I know there is no way this 5'7" linebacker is going to play anywhere. But I will definitely watch and give you notes on their tape.
Someone said Quavo. That probably seems like the more likely one.
Quavo would be a good one. I feel like he's done it every time that they've been.
Just not Kane Brown.
Yeah.
Wasn't that one
Kane
year?
Brown, and then it was Luke Bryan.
Luke Bryan.
Yeah.
You ever notice how Luke Bryan sings his songs like his nose is blood?
Damn, Luke Bryan hate, huh?
I don't hate Luke Bryan. I think Luke Bryan's album when I was a freshman in college was something I played a little bit too much, to be honest with you. And I'm ashamed of that. I am. I'm ashamed of that. But it's okay. Amount of snaps Brock Bowers takes on Saturday.
You gonna set it at 1?
Oh, did you read my notes?
No. I put it in here.
You gonna set it at 1?
Yeah, I'm gonna set it at 1.
Or actually a half.
A half a snap.
Half a snap.
Does he take a singular snap on Saturday?
I think he does take a snap, And I know we did the thing of like he gets to receive the victory snap. I think it could just be something of like let him go,
protector.
let him go out there. Just let him take the field. He gets a little standing ovation from the crowd in the closing minutes of the football game. I think he deserves that.
I think he'll do that, and they'll line him up in that wishbone formation that they do, where it's him and Dylan Bell in the back. Because I mean, at that point, you're a decoy.
Yeah.
That's what they've used him for in that position most, anyways.
That would be so freaking cool.
Is to be a decoy and open up that extension of the pass or run game.
Again, I joked with sources about it, but I mean, dude, he's meant so much to this football program.
That'd be so cool.
So much to this football program, and they are sentimental, and they do these things for their superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for Christ's sakes, Jordan Davis had an entire goal line package. They didn't do that for Jalen Carter the next year. It didn't remain in the system. It was special because Jordan's special.
They did do that for Jalen Carter in 2020, though.
Correct, because it was one of my biggest Nostradamus things I've ever had in my life. I don't think you were with us at the time. You definitely weren't.
No. Actually, wait a minute.
During that football game, I don't know how many people remember this watching, but during that football game, they showed that red zone look, and I tweeted out, next time they come down, I guarantee you Jalen Carter gets a touchdown reception. And sure as shit, the next time they did it.
Lovely.
Twitter just blew up. They're like, who is this guy? He's from the future. Just know ball, baby. That's it. Just know some ball. And occasionally, if you know some ball, you can get some predictions. I like the half snap, and I like to take it at an over.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I would hammer the over at a half snap.
All right. What are some real props? Do you have any fake props?
The other one I had was Brock Bowers' snap. So the other ones are real.
Okay, so the other ones are real.
Do you want me to give you the actual props?
That's what I'm saying. Let's get the real props. So let's take some over-unders on these real props. Maybe we even give you a little prop lay right here to play over on Prize Picks right now.
Okay. Now, I'm sure they'll be added to, but right now we just have passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards. I'm sure there will be more added later in the week of some combos and whatnot. But right now we got Carson Beck at 285.5.
That's been the same line for 3 weeks in a row now. For Carson Beck. Ooh.
I know he didn't hit it last week, but I'll continue on the stance of keep taking the over.
Just keep taking it over. I mean, 9 out of 10 starts over 300 yards, right? I think that's what it is right now.
I don't know if it's that high.
I know for a 5-game stretch.
8 out of 9?
I'll check it.
Or 8 out of 10?
Y'all
Go ahead.
I'll check.
I like the over there as well.
Yeah, I like the over as well.
I like the over. All right. What else we got?
We got Jackson Dart at 220. What do we think about that? 220.5.
Total yards or passing?
Passing.
I wouldn't touch it.
I wouldn't touch
it because you don't know how Lane's going to want to use him in this game. If they want to use him as
the rain comes.
Yeah, as a running threat, I wouldn't touch it.
Now there is a play for I don't have it on the list right now, but there is a play for Jackson Dart for passing and rushing.
All right, so it's at 220.
Mm-hmm.
They've allowed over 220 yards passing 1, 2, 3 times this year.
I would
take the under.
Yeah, I would take the under as well.
All right, Jackson Dart under. Okay, what else we got?
I wouldn't touch it.
Dejon Edwards at 88.5.
Ideally, first of all, audience, ideally we stay away from this Jackson Dart. We find plays elsewhere. I think it's close. That's a good line from Prize Picks.
Dejon Edwards 88.5. That's a tough one. That's another really good line by Prize Picks.
And here I would normally hammer the over on any other back. Because any other back, it takes like 2 or 3 of these rippers, but he's not a ripper.
No.
This is a guy that's going to need 14 carries to get 89 yards on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So does he get 14 carries? I'm going to say yes. I like that. I like 89 yards for Dejon. I'm going to take the over there.
No, I think with the reemergence of Kendall Milton, they're splitting rushes 50-50 right now. And then Kendall's been your gasher lately.
He has been.
So I would stay away from that as well for Dejon. I would go under.
That's a good point you make. I'd probably
Dejon had 16 totes last week. Kendall had 9, so it's 2-1 still. But you're right. Kendall's getting a larger work share over the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. I probably would take the under.
I would take the under on that as well.
Just because not because of Dejon himself, just because I think it's also kind of hard to predict how the running back room is going to work at Georgia each and every game. Like I said, they kind of change things up. It seems like every single week. You kind of just never know. It's not a room that you can predict very easily.
Yeah, I mean, Roderick Robinson and Cash Jones were your feature backs in the first 2 weeks, and I don't think they've had a carry the last 4 games other than garbage time.
That's a solid point. What else we got? What are automatic winners? Because Prize Picks right now.
All right.
And I know they're a keynote sponsor. Normally, there's some easy bread on this line.
There's some easy bread right here.
Here we go.
Ra Thomas, 37.5.
Oh, yeah. Take that.
That's one catch.
That's 2 catches.
That's
2 back shoulders.
That's 1 offsides penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like,
that's
that's
a good
literally what
point.
it is.
Yeah, we like that one. All right, Rah-Rah 37.5. We got Carson Beck 285.5 right now.
I think this is another easy winner. Ladd McConkey 66.5.
They bumped that up from last week. Last week is 58.5.
I
They
think
got
he's
cooked.
I think he's good for 70 yards at least.
68.5 yards.
66.5.
I think he's
66.
good for 70 if you feed him, but I think they're also going to want to get
This
guys
is-
more involved.
thi-
Is Marcus Rosemi-Jacksaint playing in this game?
I got a take on this one.
Is Rojak
Well-
playing in this game?
Yeah. Why wouldn't he?
I know he came out in the Missouri game, took a big hit.
Nah, I mean, he
Here's-
spoke to the media this week.
Here's
That's what
one
he's
reason why I would take Ladd McConkey in this. Yards after the catch. Ole Miss cannot tackle. I
That-
mean,
that's
that's
a
a
great
big
point.
issue for Ole Miss.
That's where I was going to go. They're also a heavy zone team, and with Bowers not going to be in the playbook or in the availability again this week, who are they going to design their winners for? It's going to be 84. You don't double a lot when you're in zone coverage. You can't really do it. You kind of
Right.
run your zone. Your zone is your zone. Whoever we want to design our winners for, we can kind of do that at our own discretion. I like Ladd at 70 yards. I mean, I know it's 68 or 66.5. I like him over 70 for a solid lock.
He can get
right
that in
there.
5 catches.
So we've got 3 ones that we feel good about, all related right now to Georgia's passing attack.
yeah.
Mhm. Well, they only had the Dejon as the rushing yards.
Correct.
And then they got 2 other receiving yard plays for Georgia. They got Dom Lovett at 50.5.
No, I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
He's very. I think he's up and down around that all year this year.
Mm-hmm. And then the other one that they have, which is probably another one you probably don't want to mess with, is Oscar Delp at 32.5.
I actually like that one.
I do too. Young linebackers on the interior of Ole Miss. Maybe you can press them vertically.
Getting more comfortable too now.
There's a lot of safety
Yeah.
rotation from Ole Miss as well.
That's a good point.
Maybe you can get him slipping on the backside of a safety rotation.
I mean, he's getting about 3 or 4 targets a game now since Brock's been down.
This game log from Dominic Lovett is very confusing. 25, 29, 56, 59, 25, 16, 72, 83, 33. Like, you have no idea what dude's going to do on a week-to-week basis. But that's a byproduct of this offense.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have – I want to look at the roster right quick. I think they have like 15 guys with a reception at this point this year.
Oh, yeah. It's
It's well
Simply
over
just
12.
There was
bonkers.
one game where they had like over 10 players with a reception.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. All right, which ones do we like? We said we like Carson over, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We like – y'all don't like Dejon Edwards over.
No.
Okay, but we do like Rah-Rah Thomas over.
And we like the Ladd McConkey.
Okay, and we
over.
like Ladd. That's only 3. We got to find 2 more in this game to get to 5. 5's that extra 25x play. All right, that's what we want to ideally get to in this play here.
This might be one you like. Quinshawn Judkins, 71.5.
All right, Quinshawn Judkins, what?
71.5 rushing yards.
Rushing, that's
I think as a team they rushed for 140
Okay.
in this football game.
and I think Jackson Dart probably has 50 of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then here's your play that you want. Jackson Dart, 18.5 rushing yards.
Over, because I don't know how many times. Well, this
Sack yards count.
Oh, wow. You got him to swear.
I was about to say F college football rules. F them, because that makes that bet really, really hard. Because
Don't.
this dude does take 20-yard sacks.
Yes.
Like when he does not take, oh, I'm just gonna eat it here in the pocket sacks. Nuh-uh. This dude tries to be superhero and then takes a 25-yarder, and it'll immediately ruin this play.
And
I'm staying away from that.
I think Prize Picks knows that, and that's why the line is there, because people will see it and like, oh, 18.5 rushing yards? No doubt about it for Jackson Dart. And then
Yeah.
it's like, holy crap, why did he finish with -10?
That's definitely a gotcha line.
Mm-hmm.
It got me.
They got Trey Harris at 68.5. It's a couple big plays. If he gets
Dude,
his
I don't
5
think- I don't
receptions,
think anybody's held that dude under 100 yards in like weeks. Hell, Auburn held him to 4 receptions and he had a $140. I'm looking at it right now. There are 10 wide receivers at the University of Georgia with at least 10 receptions on the year. That's nuts. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wide receivers with at least 1 touchdown reception on the year. It's got to be the most balanced weaponry in all of college football. Everywhere else you look, including Ole Miss this week, they got 3 guys over 600 yards, and I don't think they have another receiver over 150. So
crazy.
yeah, and that's, I think, part of the reason why it's built this way.
Whoa.
What's up?
I just found it interesting. So, Trey Harris,
Mm-hmm.
week 1, 133 yards. Week 2, 55. Week 3, 153 yards. Week 4, 26. Week 5, 102 yards. Week 6, 67. Week 8, 213.
So up and
So,
down.
down.
And
Yeah, so
he's
we
due
down
for a
this week.
downer.
All right, so we like Trey Harris under. Okay, that's 4. I'm taking Dejon Edwards over 5, and that's our lock of the week.
There you go.
All right. Here we go. We got Carson Beck over 285.5. We got Rod Thomas over 37.5. We got Ladd McConkey over 66.5. We've got Dejon Edwards over 88.5. And we got Trey Harris under 70.
68.5.
Under 68.5.
And
All right.
if you want those numbers, you better go lock it in now because these numbers will change and fluctuate throughout the week.
We moved them pretty heavily the last time I tweeted them out,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
So jump on it now because they'll literally change within minutes.
And I would imagine our guy Jack from Prize Picks is watching right now. So, Jack, you heard it locked in right now. Promo code Brooks. Go ahead and get the promo graphic put up over there on Prize Picks because, hey, I can't tell you, people thought I was a celebrity. I had people like family members that don't watch the show that gamble that were like, what the fuck? What is going on here? Who is this? Why is my cousin over here on the gambling site? You degenerate. You should watch the show a little bit more often.
You know your family.
Yeah. Classic.
Get into the right business.
Should we give them 3, boys?
Let's
do
give him
it.
3.
We got a lot left. Let's give them 3. All right, 3 things that should scare you about this Ole Miss football team. I'll start right now. Unique rushing attack. All right, they attack you from a multitude of ways, and you guys know the deal. You are out a starting All-American caliber linebacker this week and a senior in that, all right, in Pop. So he's going to be out, obviously, and C.J. Allen, I would expect, is the one that's going to take his role. However, he was very, very quick to mention E.J. Lightsey, who had been dealing with a shoulder, back injury, something. Had been dealing with some chronic pain is what it sounded like for a majority of the start of the season. I did see him dressed last week, though, but he wasn't dressed to play. You can always tell the difference, and it's based off the swag. Like, do you look like you want to be on TV today? No, he did not. So he was probably not ready to play. So number one, and first and foremost, the unique rushing attack from Ole Miss gives me a little bit of concerns for this Georgia defense in terms of just giving up gashers. I don't expect them to give up consistent yardage over and over again. The defensive line is still too good, still way too athletic, still got too many dudes up there. But it does concern me just a little bit with their unique rushing attack. And that continues to my next point. Jackson Dart's the type of football player that once he gets confidence, it's going to be like continued confidence. He likes to play like a superhero. So if you let him think he's doing superhero shit tomorrow or Saturday, he's going to continue to do that. So watch out for that. They have a defense that's inconsistent. It's up and down, but they do have flash plays. They do make flash plays defensively. Pete Golding has always been this kind of defensive coordinator in the sense that he's going to take a little bit more gambles than most defensive coordinators from this coaching background typically have. So I worry about, big time momentum swinging plays being created on the defensive side of the football, but that's the only thing I worry about from this Ole Miss defense. What if Pete Golding has something dialed up for this Georgia offense? Other than that, I don't have a ton of tremendous concerns, particularly because I don't believe in this Ole Miss unit on the road, and we talked about that last night.
Yeah, I agree
Hey,
with that one.
give them 3.
First one for me, Jackson Dart's athleticism and elusiveness in the pocket, just because mobile quarterbacks, at least for a little bit this year, guys that can kind of scramble around and extend plays, have given Georgia some trouble. So, of course, got to be on the list for this of things that scare you about Ole Miss. Second, the pass rush, because they rush with the intent knowing that this is pretty much all they got on defense. They want to get home, they want to create some havoc in the pocket, and they want to get your quarterback down on the ground, because that is what they rely on. They want to create havoc. I think they're plus 1.5 in the turnover margin this year, one of the best teams in the nation for it, and it's because their defense is creating havoc and they are creating turnovers. So that would be a second one for me. Third one, just Quinshon Judkins in general. I've always thought that he's the best running back in the SEC because he plays like it, he runs like it, and going along with the unique run game for them and Quinshon Judkins just being an absolute freak, that's just scary.
Hey, Jonathan Williams, give him 3.
Yeah, so I think we all kind of had that Jackson Dart can be an issue in this game with his dual threat ability. Those quarterbacks traditionally give Kirby Smart defenses some semblance of an issue, so that's definitely something that will concern you. The second one I have is it's Lane Kiffin calling the offense, and he's a really good OC, whether you say he shits the bed in big games or not.
Whether he's a goofball or not,
Yeah.
dude scores points.
The other thing I think that kind of in the back of your head worries you is you haven't ever seen a Kirby Smart defense go against what Lane Kiffin can do. So there's in a type of you don't have a sample size. Whereas, like, if Bo Nix was coming into this game, you'd say, oh, Bo Nix never plays good against Georgia. You don't really have that in the back of your head to kind of give you reassurance. And then the third one is Ole Miss is playing spoiler here. They're like Lane Kiffin said, they're playing with house money. They have so much left to lose than a Georgia does or another team like a Tennessee did coming in the last year. So I think the fact that the stakes are lower can make it have Tennessee or Ole Miss come out with this kind of attitude where it's like, we don't care. We're just here to win. So that's something to look out for as well.
That boy Christian Kirby, give him 3. Let's play What's the Limit. We only got 9 minutes left on the hour, boys. And it is a loaded show. Make sure it's a loaded chat, I should say. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, and rate, review, and all that good stuff. We appreciate you for being here. Appreciate you for choosing us. I keep hammering it down because it's almost been a little bit daunting just how competitive this YouTube market has become. There are tons of people doing content. We appreciate that you guys have been adamant about the decision to choose this network. I know we produce a lot of content. I know there's a lot to watch, so we appreciate you being here tonight. And if you're a newcomer, I feel like the Baptist preacher asking for the newcomers to sign out or fill out the welcome card. The welcome card's in the seat in front of you. Okay, just make sure you hit that subscribe, rate, review button. All right, and stick around because it is loaded around here Monday through Thursday, and even on Sundays nowadays, and even on Fridays nowadays, and even on Mondays before our live show. There's tons of content here for you. So we're trying to make it a one-stop shop for you for your college football network and content. Make sure you're subscribing and supporting the network. What's the limit, boys? What is the limit? Here's how this works. What is the number of false starts Georgia needs on Saturday to come out and get a win? Not that you're reliant on false starts, but what is the number that you need?
That's a tricky question because I don't think it's as much quality or quantity as it is quality. I think
when they come.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think if you're at a 3rd and 4 and they're on your 25, you really need a false start there.
Yep.
I don't think you need 7 or 8 of them to win the game. I think if you get 2 or 3 of those really big ones
You
where
need critical ones.
where it kills a drive, that's what you need.
It's a combination of crowd noise and movement from this defensive line from Georgia historically that has caused the most. Is it Notre Dame that has the most? Didn't they have 7 in 2019?
I think Tennessee broke it last year.
Tennessee had 8, I think.
Okay, and Arkansas had 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of history of Georgia fans kind of getting these false starts. But again, a lot of that false start movement has come from the defensive line moving. But it's a combination. It's a combination of being on silent counts, being on clap counts, and judging when I'm going to go based off movement. You listen to a lot of offensive linemen on the road that are on silent counts. They can't see the ball because they're so far off the ball that it's out of their peripheral because they're backed up. You know, they're trying to get in their pass set, particularly on 3rd and long. Mm-hmm. They're trying to get the snap count off of movement. They're trying to judge when the guy next to him is going to move, and when that defensive lineman in front of the guy next to him moves, you know what I mean? It kind of gets you. But it only happens, all right? It only happens with the combination of movement and an insane environment. We try to hype you guys up every week, try to get you to get out there and ball out from a fan's perspective. It's vital this week.
I was going to say 3 to 4. I think if you get 4 good ones, 3 good ones, then that's a good showing from the fan base.
I think it's important to have a couple on the first drive and then get them on 3rd downs moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
You get them on the first drive, and it's like, oh, my gosh.
Even some 4th downs.
You know what I mean? Like that immediate momentum, a killer as an offense or as a unit, you start to feel like, oh, my God, we really are up against it. You know what I mean?
Or even make them burn a timeout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the chaos can cause some of that. All right, number of 4th down stops it's going to take Saturday.
That's another one where it's like, how many times is Ole Miss going for it? I think they go for it at least 5 times in this game. At least
5?
I think it's more than that, particularly if they're playing from behind. In the 4th quarter.
5 times.
Dude, they went for it on 4th down 3 times in the first 3 drives against Auburn last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So
this football team hammers on 4th down.
So I'm gonna say it's more about percentage. I think you have to stop them 60% of the time. So if they go for it 8 times, you need to stop them 5.
I think you got to go 3 out of every 4, honestly, because it's a free possession. Every time they convert a 4th down, when you're not expecting it, statistically, historically, we don't expect you to do it. Yeah. First quarter, all right, you've just stolen a possession. That's how you should think of it when it happens. I think you got to shut down. 60% is a good number. To dominate this football game, 75%.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think 70%. I would say that's the mark. If they go for it, we'll say 10 times, just have a nice even number. Yeah, I think they can only convert like 3 of those.
All right, Georgia had only allowed 6 sacks entering the matchup against Missouri last week. They gave up 3, 2 in the first half. What is the most amount of sacks Georgia can allow on Saturday and still come out with a victory?
So I think this is also one of those things where it matters too when they happen. And like if you're on third down, that of course hurts, or if it's second down and short and you get a sack or something like that, it matters. I think 3 to 4 is about the number that we've kind of come to realize is the maximum amount that Georgia can allow.
I'm gonna say 4 to 5, assuming that every time you get a sack, it's a drive killer. Just assuming that you're not going to score on that drive, it's 4 to 5.
Because you would imagine you're going to get probably 12 offensive possessions Saturday.
Yeah.
10 or 12, depending on how well you stop the run.
Yeah, most likely, unless Ole Miss just comes out and they decide they're going to sit on the football the whole game, which is kind of what teams have tried to do in the last few weeks.
I think that number's solid right there in the chat, about 4. 4 or 5 is what you could probably sustain. Because you're right, they are drive killers. Because this offense isn't made to do 3rd and 14.
No.
Ole Miss's is. Ole Miss, they don't mind it at all. I think that's the other thing that's impressive.
Well, they don't mind it because they know if they got a 4th and 4, they're going to go for it.
You're right. But it's part of what I was going to say about this offense that I respect. Now, I respect it because I'm an offensive mind. I play the game, and I would coach the game with that in mind. I would not worry or necessarily play to protect my defense. Defensive coaches tend to do so. But I respect the hell out of this offense because they pressure you at all times. Like, you can never, ever take a breath. Most of the time as a defense, even when they're down, most of the time as a defense, like 3rd and 15, 3rd and 16, it's like, all right, let's play prevent. Let's put everybody at the sticks. Let's just rally to the football. That's not how this football team plays offense. This football team for 4 quarters is going to make your butthole pucker. Like, it's just the honest truth of what it is. Now, whether or not you're dominating them, whether or not you're holding them to 10 points like Alabama did, it's still a nerve-wracking 4 quarters because they're going to press you and stress you for 4 quarters as a defense. And that I admire that about this offense and this program just as much as I do about Georgia, Alabama, and Michigan over the last 3 years, from the sense that, they just don't beat themselves. Like, they just line up and they play consistent, like, football. No different than what we tweeted about this week with the home road splits, right? This football team, 20 points per game less, 17 points per game less over the last 2 years, 20 points per game less just this year. Georgia, 3 points?
Yeah, I think
it was 3 points and 10 yards. 3 points and 10 yards difference between home and road splits. You know why? Because they just line up and play consistent, professional, clean football. And I respect that about them, just as like I respect the constant threatening and constant, almost like vigilante approach that this Ole Miss football program brings.
I think that's also what makes this matchup so unique as well, is that it's very 2 different types of football that they want to play, defensively and offensively. And so it's really just going to depend on, like, who can do it better, vice versa, who can defend it better and who can attack it better.
You laughing at never go full Kiffin?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was laughing at
Good
too.
one.
Go ahead. Do we have any limit questions anymore? I know you have some. I just rattled off 3.
Yeah, what's Jackson Dart's not net rushing yards, like rushing yards not counting sacks? What's the max you can allow on that?
I would word
70.
this in the sense of, I think he can have 3 breakers, like 3 where he just rips off like 20, 15 yards. I think he can have 3 of those.
And so it's going to make Missouri made their whole rushing game plan based off quarterback draw. They got an empty and ran quarterback draw. Now, Ole Miss runs a lot of empty. They do. But they don't run a ton of quarterback draw, even though they did score, I believe, a touchdown against Alabama on quarterback draw in the red zone. So something to be alert of when they put you in empty in red zone territories or red zone situations. But no, I think that line at about 70 traditional rushing yards. If he goes over that, you're in trouble. They've really, really consistently moved the sticks on you if that's what's happening.
Yeah, I agree.
Malachi, I think it was Malachi. Malachi kind of let one slip. They're going to spy this guy all 4 quarters.
Oh,
just be ready for it. You say duh. I watched 2 really good, smart, long-time defensive coordinators in this conference not spy him. Auburn and A&M did not spy him for 4 quarters that I watched of those 2 football games. So, yeah, duh, right? Yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Dude's making $2 million a year not to answer yeah, does and spy this guy. So I don't know what it is, but Georgia ain't never not spied somebody that plays the game of football like this guy does. Number 1 Google search right now on Twitter in the Georgia Bulldog space is UGA versus Tennessee 2023. Why, I don't know. But I ask you fellas, what can you learn from last year's 1-2 massive football game at home that you played in?
I think you can learn that there shouldn't be an offense that you should worry about defensively under Kirby Smart. That offense was putting up stupid numbers. It scared everybody because they were explosive. They could run the football. They were sound. They could do literally anything and everything. They stressed every single defense that they played. Even Alabama, a team that always has a great defense, they got torched by Tennessee. And I think that game last year proved that there shouldn't be a single offense where you should just be shivering in your britches or anything like that when it comes to Kirby Smart defensively.
Offense based off schematics, right? An offense with dudes, still be worried about.
Yeah,
Ohio State still got you for 45.
That's what I was about to say.
If it's based off of gimmicks and acts and motions and window dressing and tricks and trades,
splits,
right? Like
yeah.
Arkansas a couple years ago was just like this. Traylon Burks, our mans from Baylor that we hate on the program, or we talk all the time about the offensive coordinator. Bryles, our guy Kendall was doing some really unique stuff. They were rushing the football for over 250 yards a game, I believe, coming into that matchup. Boom, shut down immediately. So all these gimmicky offenses, they don't tend to have historical success against Georgia. Did you have a takeaway from that football game?
Yeah, it's that the crowd, can have an effect on the game.
Amen.
I think that speaks for itself. We've kind of hammered that home as many times. You make a difference. The 4 or 5 false start penalties you cause in this game are going to be huge. So you got to come out and be loud.
Speaking of being huge, 450 people in this, watching this right now. I need all 450 people to at least give me a shot. Give us a shot on your national college football content here in about 2 minutes over on NBR. I love you. We'll see you.